Imagine never finding out who your mother was because you live in a world where men and women are separated in different kingdoms. Even though this man is the strongest black wolf on the planet, Karim still had to infiltrate deep within the girl's territory only to find out that his little brother is the one that yoinked his true love from him. Unfortunately for Karim, he has no time to spare on lingering about finding out the hard truth due to an entire army of girls surrounding him hell-bent on destroying him. Now these girls want revenge, and not the nice type of revenge through rice cake destroying, but instead, they want to turn him into mashed potato. Nevertheless, a flashback occurs showcasing what happens when a boy is born in this world, since it's common sense girls can only give birth unless a guy is having a food baby. Anyways, what happens is that a special envoy is notified that a boy has been born, so the Black Wolves come to take them away as soon as they are born. If the boys somehow make it past 4 years old, they graduate the child care institution of the Black Wolves, allowing them to finally get a real father that will one day tell them he's going to grab some milk from the groceries. And so Karim got adopted by the commander of the palace guards for being strong AF, but his father is basically Askeladd from Vinland Saga, only for him to be more like an evil villain. As Karim grew older, he never really talked to his dad, much as the only words that came from him was to make sure Karim never touched his royal sword. But then one day, fake Askeladd perished in battle after trying to defend the Northwind's throne against some Chads wanting change. And so Karim basically grew up without having any real father figure in his life, so that's why he turned to watching King anime recaps all day instead. But then as soon as he turned 18, he became part of the elite Delta Force for the Black Wolves, and unbeknownst to him, his captain at the time was his own real father. Back in the present, his mom bids farewell to him by telling him it's been nice meeting her long-lost son. But she knows he has to get going if she doesn't want her son to drop the soap behind bars. As such, Karim unsheathes his sword ready for battle, as Era is still nowhere to be found, which means that maybe he still has a chance to escape against the elite women since he can use his dough fruit to clap them all. However, this time the girls are prepared and ready to thwart his shenanigans as Seoli is determined to avenge her best friend and fallen brethren. As such, Karim the King Simp says goodbye to his mom as well, telling her it's time for him to go back to the sausage fest within the Black Wolves' kingdom. Meanwhile, Seoli decides to interrupt the very wholesome moment by channeling her inner Erwin Smith, so she orders her forces to charge forward and capture Karim with any means possible. She doesn't even care if he comes back without a heart pulse. Instantly, more than a dozen Blackthorn members attack simultaneously with all their might. But before Seoli joins the battle as well, she orders his mom to go inside her home, revealing to her that a royal investigator will arrive soon as Karim is the Black Wolves' declaration of war. Nevertheless, as the battle goes on between Karim and the Blackthorn, he's somehow able to survive all their attacks with some plot armor on his side, but he begins to get in all over. Seoli is then forced to enter the battle frenzy as she notices a couple of the Blackthorn members begin to go down, as Karim begins to activate his sussy bending technique to full effect. With Seoli matching Karim's swordsmanship blow by blow, it turns out that the King Simp has not even been pushed to his full power. But then Karim abruptly stops, as it turns out he was actually waiting for his beloved Ara to show up in battle, so he tells the girls they stand no chance against him. But his words effectively cut deep within Seoli's feelings, allowing her to get distracted, which gives time for Herring to surprise her from behind. She then swiftly attempts to send Herring to the afterlife, but she misses and fails horribly as she gets her first taste of the Prince Behemoth's powers. With the appearance and showboating of his absurd quickness, all the Blackthorn members, including Seoli, begins to gawk in disbelief that Seoli could get ganked just like that and not get caught. Even Karim is shocked at the sight of Herring popping up, since he's probably still super salty that this dude is actually his lil bro and he already got to destroy Ara over and over. Now that Herring has popped into the battle and with the rest of the elite Garimbi joining in Sumun, the girls stand no chance as Herring is basically pre-nerf chamber, as the dude can one-shot anyone and instantly disappear in thin air. Unfortunately, Seoli is still fixated on her revenge, so she reorders her squadron to attack without holding a single inch back. So now, like true brothers, they face their backs against each other, ready to dismantle and destroy everyone in their way, unless of course, Ara shows up since both of them are mega simps. However, as time passes, more and more Blackthorn members begin to drop like flies, causing the battle to slowly turn its tide against the Blackthorn as they receive no reinforcements. Eventually, both Karim and Herring get a bit of time to breathe and recoup as they find most of the Blackthorn already on the ground, but the funny thing is that Herring is bossing everyone with just a wooden stick. Regardless, Seoli gets even more frustrated as she finally notices that Herring is clapping all of them while only using the back of his weapon, as he doesn't want to hurt any of them since they could all be part of his future rice cake gang. Speaking of which, as they get enamored by Herring's fighting skills, they forget that he's part of the enemy force, so he successfully uses his sussy jutsu to his advantage. In the end, only a few Black Thorn members is able to muster up enough strength to continue standing, but Seely knows she needs to buy more time for reinforcements to arrive. Suddenly, the wind picks up, causing the battlefield to be full of smoke, exactly like the current Alberta and California wildfires after the Lakers and Oilers win. The girls then get confused as they have no idea where the fire could be from, but then it dawned on them that two missing Garimbi are still yet to be found. As such, Seely orders a mass retreat as the smoke gives her bad flashbacks to what happened the other day, so now she's retreating to make sure there's nothing hidden in the smoke screen. Moments later, Wong comes barreling through on a caravan, looking exactly like a god from the Roman era as he steams towards his other elite Garimbi members. Shortly after, Maru shows up and finally makes his appearance, whilst busy telling Herring and Karim to get on whenever they are done trolling around. With Karim and Herring instantly hopping on to make their escape, Seely orders all Black Thorn members able to stand to start firing at the escaping Garimbi members. However, although every single shot fired is 100% accurate, Herring is able to deflect every single arrow using his max-level agility skills to save his gang and the horse. At the same time, Wong seemingly looks like he's taken a portal to learn from Madara, so he ends up showcasing his new skill, Fire Release Great Fire Annihilation Jutsu, success. The boys are able to get away from the army of girls, but Seely reveals that they can't get away too far as every single road within the kingdom has been blocked off to prevent any intruders. Elsewhere, Ara and the entire 1,000-step squad makes their appearance on top of a hill, as the queen has ordered them to put an end to the elite Garimbi once and for all. Everyone knows that the #1 squad of the Crimson Foxes can easily destroy the #1 elite Garimbi as they have Ara, but not all know how strong Herring really is. Nonetheless, the boys continue back home with their carriage, but things are looking grim as the air surrounding them is full of uncertainty with the event of this all-out war. Maru then brings up the fact that if they do make it home back into Black Wolf's territory, will they even be welcomed back home as they were the ones that got abandoned at the Gomez site? But Karim scoffs at Maru's good point, so he replies back by saying those who are destined to live will carry on, while the rest will just perish. After Karim's such amazing profound speech, the king's simp decides to intently stare at Herring once again, still unable to believe that the blue-haired boy is actually his lil bro. This causes our boy to be a little sussy Becca as he starts feeling flustered, so he tells Karim to stop, still aloof to the fact that Karim is his big stepbro. But then the turntables turn once again as Karim finally speaks up, asking Herring if he's really willing and ready to actually fight for the throne, as he can't turn back if he pursues it. Unfortunately, right before the two brothers were able to finally have some bonding moment, Maru notices an entire squad of girls waiting patiently at the end of the road. He then proceeds to yell at everyone to hold on tight as he needs to activate some fancy evasive maneuvers as a ray of arrows start flying towards them. But Herring is able to come to the rescue again as he's able to block and deflect multiple arrows due to him temporarily borrowing his Roblox fruit skills. Now that the boys can continue living another day thanks to Herring's heroic moves, Maru realizes that his detour leads to even more soldiers waiting for them at the end of the road. Thus, the elite Garimbi get pelted again only to be saved by Herring, as our boy is trying his hardest to survive for Ara, so they get forced off the road and into the forest to evade the blockade. Unfortunately, as they continue on traversing an uncharted territory, they end up forced off their carriage as they hit a dead end with no way for the horsey to pass through unless it somehow transforms into Pegasus. And so Karim orders the squad to roll out like the Transformers so they could attempt to cross the behemoth of a mountain before them, as Maru might be able to figure out where they are using a map. However, as the group continues to venture on forward, they realize they have stumbled upon the legendary Mount Gurajum, so if they accidentally fall, they'll find themselves featured in another recap titled Reincarnated in Another World. Luckily for them, this is exactly the landmark Maru was looking for, so he claims that as long as they follow the canyon, then there's no way they would ever get lost as it will lead them towards no man's land. Shortly after, Wong pipes up to tell them to keep on moving as he doesn't like the idea of constantly stopping since it allows for the Crimson Foxes to slowly catch up to them. But as soon as Wong finished his sentence, the boys turn around as they feel a sudden burst of energy appearing behind them. And just as Wong expected, the entire 1,000-step squad caught up to them with ease, as this is in fact their home territory, so they know their way around. Without wasting much time, Ara speaks up and tells the boys they only have two choices, either quietly give up or else face the consequence of death. Surprisingly, Karim claps back for the first time ever against Ara by telling her if she had the ability to do so, they would have already sent them to their demise. As such, right before our eyes, the king's simp has actually transformed into the very rare and unique Sigma male, So he whips out his sword and proceeds to tell the girls to bring it. Herring and Maru instantly get surprised as they don't really want to fight like savages against the very same people they just rice cake smashed literally a day ago. But it's okay, since you guys know what they always say, make war not love, as the Crimson Foxes must be super desperate to break the rule of the Gomage stating that participants must be sidelined during Gomage Day. Nonetheless, the epic final battle between the Crimson Fox number 1 and the Black Wolves number 1 is about to begin.